I go, okay, this next guy is very funny man from Los Angeles. He's appeared on Make Me Laugh, Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, and a bunch of other shows that have all been canceled.
Hi, and welcome to the show. I'm Tim Slagle. If you do not know me, I'm not surprised. I've been doing this 40 years now. I started doing comedy after I flunked out of college and couldn't hold down a day job. And I've been traveling the road. When I started in this business, I was a punk rock anarchist. Now I'm just a cranky old man. And I'm doing the exact same act. 1 minute you're speaking truth to power, the next thing you know, you're the drunk uncle at Thanksgiving dinner, which I think makes a nice segue into our guest today.
Very good.
We are here with Larry Reeb. Larry, I have to say, when we first met, I was doing this hipster character, and you were. Even though we were both about the same age, we were young, but you were doing the same guy you've been doing.
Was I still I don't know if I was saying Uncle Larry, though, yet, was I?
I'm not sure about that, but it's still...
But I've always been a cranky old man since I was 19. I've been like that. So
yeah, it was a marvelous plan that you had. Because, as Lenny Bruce said, there's nothing more pathetic than an aging hipster.
Right.
I had to get old. You've been able to stay with the character the entire time.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I already said I'd be funnier when I was older. Yeah. And I think it's true, but the problem is I didn't realize ageism would come into the thing. And then there's clubs that won't book you when you hit a certain age. Have you had any of this? Like, there's clubs that, like, if you're after 50, that's it. They don't really...
Well, yeah, I've noticed that. And you can't entirely blame them because the demographic of the age demographic, it's high disposable income, no kids, 25 to 35. They don't want to deal with an old guy.
Yeah, yeah. But if you're still funny and you're still writing, see, that's the other problem. Is there's these guys, and we don't have to mention names, that have been doing bits that are topical bits that are 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
So, they should just be, wheeled away to the old folks home because they make everybody else look.
Last time I worked with Kevin Meaney, he was doing his We Are the World closer.
Yeah.
Which... And it was really funny in the 80s.
Yeah.
But kids today don't even know the song, much less the characters he's miming.
I know. Well, we know. I don't really want to mention names of people, but...
Well, he's no longer with us, so I figured I could get away with that one.
Yeah.
But
there's one guy doing a bit from a TV show from the 76. And he still does. You have to be 50 to remember it.
Right.
Or older.
It's Ricky Connors, another local comic we lost, was still doing the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah.
Bit in this century, I believe.
So that's the problem. So you gotta try and.
So how did you survive the pandemic?
Pretty good. Well, I was home alone, so it was kind of weird at first. All I did was sleep, eat, go in the yard, sleep, eat, go in the yard. It was like being in prison without the sex. Tip from your Uncle Larry.
It's for me that wasn't much change. Sleep, eat, go in the yard. That's
pretty much the comic life.
Yeah, sleep, eat, go in the yard, take a shower, go to the show. That's the only thing.
Yeah, we're just missing the show. And the shower was optional at that point.
It's I have to say, Larry, I've always looked up to you. I've always felt that there were two schools of comedy in Chicago. There was the Emo Phillips School of Comedy in Chicago, which I think that kind of branched into the alt school. But then there was the Larry Reeb School of Comedy, Chicago comedy. And you were always, you always reminded me a lot of Rodney Dangerfield because you would just move.
Yeah.
You would just do with the one-liners, and not many comics do that.
It's true, yeah. Well, I kind of took, when I was a kid, my favorite, I don't know if I did this on purpose, but when I look at it, I loved Dangerfield when I was a little kid. I used to watch him with my dad. And I also loved Carlin and edgy, sick humor. So I've kind of put the two together.
Sick
When you
Rodney
look,
Dangerfield.
yeah, well, when you think of it, because I have a lot of really sick jokes, stuff I can't do here, you know. But they're in one-liner form, usually.
Right, yeah.
So that's kind of, when I look at it, I kind of put them two together.
How do you write? It's I know that some people write with a notebook. They carry a notebook wherever they go, and they're always writing in that notebook. Other people, yep, there we go. Question answered.
There's the notebook.
And
Yeah, and then I have a legal pad, usually, at home. Mm-hmm. And I write ideas on that, premises, and then I try to get a joke from that. And then, I write I still write in a book. I still have all my jokes in books. I take the ones at work and I put them in a permanent notebook. And I got
have you ever gone through the book saying there's got to be something in here?
yeah. Once in a while, I'll find something I forgot too. That was it was like maybe just did it once or didn't do it. I'm like, that's, try it again.
Then does it work?
Not always. But sometimes. Sometimes they work.
I've found that usually if it's a joke I've forgotten, there's a reason
There's
why.
a reason, yeah.
There's a reason why I never did that twice.
Yeah.
It's you were already a legend by the time I started. It's
Really?
Yeah. I was I started in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I saw you was at Leo's Club in Windsor.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about this guy from Chicago.
Oh.
It was the house MC at Zany's.
Yeah, that's why I used to do that for a year, a couple years.
What was that like? Because the standard format of comedy today is you have an MC, and then you have a feature act, and then you have a headliner. Mm-hmm. When I started, there was also an opening act. There would be a host, an opening act, a feature, and a headliner. It was different at Zany's, wasn't it?
No, well, at first they did that. They used to do that, kind of. They did three.
They had the 3 act.
They
show?
used to have a piano player too. I don't know if you ever saw that guy, Big Ed.
I know that there's a piano on stage in the downtown.
And he would
stage.
play and sing dirty songs and get the crowd involved. And he brought in people, so they used him a lot on the weekends. He'd bring in people, and then there'd be like 2 or 3 of us before him. But usually his people didn't like us. They didn't want just jokes. They wanted the piano and it was, he wore funny costumes and, it was just a weird. But it did get people in there to keep the club going. So.
Right. Because I remember there was definitely a rift in between when I started doing comedy and the comics that had come before me.
Yeah.
And I was not terribly polite to those gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
And so today, when I see the kids mocking me, I figure it's karma.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when I I didn't take a lot of grief because sometimes the headliner would come in and go on a mess with you. I don't know if you ever had that one. They try to tell you what to do. So when John Fox, the first time he ever came in, I give him an intro, good intro, and then afterwards he's like, "You didn't say everything. You didn't do everything." Okay. So the next night I go, "Okay, this next guy is a very funny man from Los Angeles. He's appeared on Make Me Laugh, Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin, Mark Douglas, and a bunch of other shows that have all been canceled. Please welcome John Fox." And then after that, we became buddies. I'm like, don't mess with me. I'm before you. I can do whatever I want. Just leave me alone. And that was, I need to mess. Because there's stories. You ever heard stories like guys made MCs do their laundry and stuff like that on the road?
The worst I ever had to do was drive them around. I
You
never,
have to do that. But I heard a guy, and they would do it. They would do their lawn. I'm like, what are you, crazy? I wouldn't do your lawn. I never took anything like that from people like that. It's ridiculous.
So what was it? What year did you start?
77
Uh-huh.
at the Comedy Womb in Lyons, where comedians are born. That was the name. WOMB, the womb.
Huh. And then how long were you doing sets there before you actually were able to go pro?
Well, there you did a year between there and the cottage in Rosemont, and then after a year they give you like $10 or something.
Right, but then.
But I quit doing. I haven't had a day job since '79.
Wow.
Knock on wood. But I lived in a little tiny studio, and I would make my $10, and I would go do one-nighters and, discos or whatever for $50 or whatever, So
It was $50.
and then I started going to Detroit was like the first big. They started bringing people in. Before, when I started, there was the Chicago, L.A., and New York just showcases. There was no other clubs. And then Ridley opened the Castle in Detroit. And then I worked there in like '79.
And we'll talk more about that on the other side.
Yeah.
All right, folks, here's a funny fella from Chicago, okay? Chicago's here, all right. I tell you, it's a sick world, but he's a happy guy. We call him Uncle Larry. Give it up for Larry Reeb. He's great. Okay, here we go, Larry. All right, baby.
And we're back. We're talking with Larry Reeb. When we left off, you were talking about the Comedy Castle in Detroit. That's actually I have fond memories there because I actually started on the open mics at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. Yeah. That was your first road gig?
Yeah. Ed Fiala took me the first time in like '78. It was like one of my first road gigs. Yeah, it was a big out of state. Yeah.
Yeah. And there weren't many other rooms besides the Castle then. I remember when I started, there was Zanies, the Comedy Castle, New York had clubs, and L.A. had clubs.
That was it. Yeah, they were the first one to start, because everything else was showcases. Chicago was showcases, New York, L.A. Ridley was the first. He started bringing in, like, Make Me Laugh was big then. So he'd start bringing in them guys, Bruce Baum and all those, Vic Dunlap and all that. He was like the first guy to do that.
Yeah, I think I saw all the Make Me Laugh stars at the Comedy Castle. Bruce Baum, Vic Dunlap, Gallagher.
Yeah.
I saw there.
And then then it just went like crazy all over the country.
Yeah, it was like a huge wave that broke.
Yeah,
and there was
crazy.
It's how I got in. There were the demand for comedy far outstripped the supply.
Yeah. I remember Kalamazoo had 3 clubs at one time. Kalamazoo, Michigan. So pretty much anybody who was breathing could be, MC, opener. They just needed people,
Right.
So yeah, it was. I don't know how many. I wish someone would count that. How many at one time clubs there were? Because every little town had one at one time.
And what's interesting now is that every one of those little towns now has a comedy scene. There's probably before they had 3 clubs in Kalamazoo. Now they have no clubs and 300 comics.
Yeah, doing one-nighters somewhere, open mics to each other. There's not even a crowd. They just do it there.
So is that so? It was pretty much. Is there any other place you would work? Did you do any of the Playboy clubs? Because that was kind of the tail end of that.
No, I didn't get. I wasn't ready for that. But that was the big thing. Like Jerry Dye who was doing the showcases. He got booked to start doing all those. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
But no, I just mainly did the discos and strip joints. And did you ever do a strip joint? That's an experience there.
I've done. I did one, and it's I never wanna relive it.
I was in Atlanta, and they were totally nude, and they would have 2-for-1 dances, table dance. So they'd be like 25 girls completely naked, dancing all over the place. Then they'd stop the music. Okay, comedy time. Here's Larry Reeb. You know, it's just like that. And you walk out, and people are screaming. And then that was in the early 80s. And I'd say hello, and they'd be, Yankee, Yankee. Yeah. But you know why I wanted to do it? Because that's how Lenny Bruce got started. A lot of them guys back then, they started in strip joints.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? How did they?
I think it was different then. It was like, it was a variety show. It was looked at it as a variety show.
Yeah, they had live music too. They had a band usually.
Yeah. So
And dancers and then.
Yeah, now when you go to a strip club, you're only there for one thing.
Yeah,
you don't want the variety. You don't want the plate spinner.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Did you ever do a male strip show?
No. But I felt like one once. You know how you don't know because you see me. I do this goofy little thing with my sport coat. I've been doing it for like my little dance. I do. And I do different bits with it. Well, one time I'm in Nashville, and this guy was like, he's like, dance some more. I go, okay, give me some money. He started threw a 20 at me. And I kept doing it. I made $140. And I'm like, and then I understood strippers. I'm like, well, I don't look bad at them. And it's like if I was beautiful and they're just throwing you money, that would be pretty easy to get stuck doing that, hard to get out of. You're just throwing your money for
yeah. But if you think we have a problem with ageism,
oh yeah, well yeah,
that profession comes down. That 30. Profession comes down quite hard on it.
Done it 30.
It's I did a male strip show once. They had me MC it. I did it once, and I thought I would like a room full of women telling me to take off my clothes.
Yeah,
and I didn't.
No, it's not.
it's one of those things that's much better in concept.
Well, I was in Michigan, Battle Creek, I think, and there was some strippers in the crowd, and they were having a birthday, somebody's birthday, or someone was getting married, I think. And I started doing my little dance. They came on stage and started stripping and tried to take my clothes off. They're pulling my jacket, they're unbuttoning my shirt. I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. No, strip. It was unbelievable. So yeah, I felt dirty.
I have to ask this because anybody who knows Chicago radio knows that there are actually two Uncle Lairs.
Correct.
In Chicago.
Right.
What is how did you pick up that title?
I was working at Old Chicago. You remember that? Oh no, because you didn't grow up here. There was an indoor amusement park in Bolingbrook called Old Chicago. The first one before Mall of America. They had stores and then they had an amusement park in the middle. And I got a job working in the games in the day when I was doing comedy at night. And
so like knocking down the milk bottles,
BB gun. And I was 19 and everyone else was like 15, 16. So they made me supervisor real quick. So they used to just call me Uncle Lair. Huh. And it's probably, I even had the name tag, Uncle Lair. And probably, because I think of it later, because
Larry
Lujack. So that's what he used to call me. So then people they would come to the clubs and people just started calling me that. And then one night I was on stage and I did some goofy little device, and I said, "That's a tip from your Uncle Larry," and that's how that was it. I didn't plan it. It was.
Was there ever any issue? Did Larry Lujak ever contact you?
No. But what's he gonna do? I have nephews, and my real name is Larry. It's not even Lawrence. I'm a real uncle. I got nieces and nephews, and that's it. I didn't, it just came. I didn't even think of that till later. That's why they were calling me.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I always had the old, like you said, the old attitude. So I was always like,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
like
you always were.
man,
I mean,
uncle or
it
something,
always fits you.
So, and he's dead now. So what are you going to do? But I still get people who think that's me. They'll come up and go, I used to love you on the radio. Oh, yeah. A lot of times I don't even tell them because I don't want to. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Where's little Tommy?
Yeah.
So, I thought you were going to do more animal stories in your act.
Yeah. So, I was going to tell you that when I started, I grew up in Dwight, Illinois, which is 90 miles from Chicago. So I go on Thursday at the Comedy Room, and Ted Holmes emceeing, and I said, I want to go up. I was supposed to be Newtown that night. He said, oh, yeah, great. Okay, sit down, and we'll get to you. So I'm sitting there, and everybody was going up, and Emo I saw first time, and guys like that. And then now it's like 1 a.m. He closes the show. Well, actually, Bill Brady took over from me. He closed the show. And I go, hey, what happened? I drove 90 miles to do the, Oh, I forgot. There was no other new talents. I forgot about you. So I was upstairs, and the people are leaving. And there's only like 10, 12 people. He yelled at them and made them come back up and sit down on the front. And the other comics sat down. And then he brought me, which was like a nightmare. And then he brought me up. And I got a couple laughs. And then he's like, he felt bad. He's like, come back next Thursday. I'll get you on early. And he did. And I just kept doing it.
So that was the first time on stage.
Yeah.
That was, I remembered working the Womb, and Ted Hullum, I needed a beer on stage, and Ted actually brought me the beer.
Oh.
And I said, boy, what other job can you not only drink a beer at work, but have your boss serve it to you?
And see, when I met him, I used to watch The Tonight Show all the time. He was on it.
Right.
And so that was like a big deal. I'm like, wow, he was on The Tonight Show, So, and
well,
then
that was
me.
Yeah, in those days, that was the ticket to stardom. Once you're on the Tonight Show, it's
because there was only 4 channels, and if you got on that, now there's so many channels that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they go all the way up to 59 now.
0.3.